Hello everyone, this is Suneve and I'm coming to you with Cozen, a bloody painter ex-reader by a poisonous lie. We're going to be starting off with chapter 4. Maggie finally comes to stop, and as you look in front of you to see two students sitting on the floor just talking, but they stop when they notice Maggie and you standing in front of them. Maggie, where were you? A boy asks. He seemed to have a buzz cut and he also seemed pretty tall because of the way he was sitting. Yeah, you took a while, the girls beside the boy say, picking on the grass on the ground. Sorry, I was getting a friend, she says and turns to you. Lion, these are my friends Ban and Judy. Judy and Ban happily greet you. It made you feel fuzzy inside. Talking to people was something you never expected to do on your first day. Come, Lion, sit with us. Maggie motions you to sit next to her. But as much as you wanted to, you couldn't help but turn your head once again where the bunch of students were. Your curiosity got the best of you and you needed to make an excuse quick. Sorry, I have to bring something with me real quick. I'll be right, I promise. Oh, okay, that's alright. Take your time. You didn't let Maggie finish her sentence, and you quickly turned where the fight was. It still kept going, and there was no teacher in sight. It's as if they were just vanished when the fight started. As you got closer, you could see how crowded it actually was and how the screaming of students was louder. It was surprising on how the teachers didn't hear that. Maybe they were on break. Were they that far that they couldn't hear anything? You pushed some students aside to see what was the commotion about, and as you got closer, you see a tall blonde boy fighting for dear life against another boy who was taller than him and way more stronger. And beside the blonde, there was another familiar boy that caught your eye. The same boy that was in front of your house sitting the other day. He was all beat and he was curled up in a ball, trying his best to cover his face. Shaking in fear was all he could do. The other boy was still standing, shaking but still standing, as his glasses were on the floor, trying his best to not step on them. Beat him up, Josh. Come on, just be done with it already. Of course they would be cheering them on. You wanted to go there and help, but it would be useless. You would end up on the ground the same way as the boy who was protecting himself, maybe even worse. Luckily, the teachers finally appeared, but it was too late when the boy named Josh threw the final punch to the blonde's face, sending him to the ground. The teacher quickly grabs Josh and pulls him back, trying to get him away from the two who were on the ground. Everyone stay back. Whoever tries to join in will be sent to detention. The teacher yells the best as he could, putting the students in silence. They slowly start to back away, and as he was going to get close to the two boys, the blonde hits the teacher's hand. He quickly gets up and pulls the other boy up. Then he starts to walk away from the crowd, leaving his glasses behind as he pulled his friend with him to another place. The students started to disperse when the fight was over, and the teacher just dragged the other kid with him to who knows where. You stood there, feeling bad about not helping, but helping would have led to worse consequences. You slowly make your way to where the glasses were, and luckily they weren't that damaged. There was just dirt on them. You wiped them a little. The best you could do was at least try to find those boys and give the glasses to the owner. You slowly walk where the two boys went and look for them, praying to not get lost. At this point, you didn't care if you skipped classes or if you never went back to your new friends. You still looked for those boys, but they were nowhere to be seen. You were about to go back when you heard a voice behind you. Are you doing okay now? You slowly turn around and see that there was nothing but a big tree. You swore you heard a voice, but there was no way in your head was making that up. I think so. What about you? And there it was again. It must be them. You slowly make your way to the tree, and you carefully take a peek behind it, and there they were, the two boys checking on each other. You really made me walk all the way here? Are you sure no one will find us here? The blonde boy asks. Yeah, I'm sure. I made sure no one. Before the brunette boy said anything, he hissed in pain. A few sniffles here and there, but he kept talking. No one followed us. You turned back. Now you weren't sure if you would return the boys' glasses back. You didn't want to ruin their peace until one of them finally mentions it. What about your glasses, Tom? Do you think you're still going to find them in the same place? Your eyebrows raised. That was such perfect timing. Maybe you could return those glasses. You slowly moved towards them and trying to present yourself in a way that wasn't threatening. Hello? That's all you could say. But no matter how careful you wanted to be, the boys got startled and quickly got up. The blonde boy got up first and he towered over you. Who are you? He asks in a defensive manner as the brunette was hiding behind him. You slowly back away and show him the glasses. I saw the fight back there and I wanted to return these. You say, trying to keep calm. Oh. The boy was surprised. His face suddenly changed to a calm one. His whole body relaxed when he finally realized you weren't there to cause trouble. He slowly smiles and reaches for his glasses. Thank you. What a way to change emotions. Chapter 5. He takes his glasses and puts them back on. A sigh of relief comes to him when he sees the glasses weren't broken. Though as he was checking his glasses, the other boy gets up and takes a look at you. He didn't say anything, but just stands behind the blonde boy. Thanks. Before the blonde could say anything, he paused for a bit, his face showing confusion. Sorry, I've never seen you here before, you new? He asks. Oh, right, yeah, I'm new here. You respond to him, a glint in his eyes suddenly appear and he smiles. Oh, in that case, why don't you join us? Aiden and I can show you around. He motions to the brunette behind him. Aiden looked more timid when he looked at you, his gaze turning to the ground quickly before you can make any eye contact. I'm Tom, by the way. As you can see, we're not very likable people. He laughs nervously. You frown at this. You never expected for him to say that. In your experience, you never had any people that were left behind or that weren't bullied. Sorry, but what's your name? Tom asks, by changing the subject but also forgetting that he didn't let you introduce yourself. Oh, my name is YN. You simply respond as he only nods. Well, we can't exactly show you around in public. After all, the students will see the new student hanging around with us, which isn't good. Tom says as he takes a look at Aiden, but Aiden only shrugs as a response. Oh, I see, but I really don't mind hanging out with you two. You seem pretty nice. For your first day, it seemed that they were more genuine than Maggie and her friends. Not to get the wrong idea, Maggie seemed fairly nice, and her friends just felt off in a way. Sorry, but I have to go. Hopefully I don't get lost. See you around. You didn't let them say anything, and you just turn around and go back to the building, leaving the two alone under the tree. You didn't realize how many classes you missed, and he knew you would get in trouble for that with your mom. A long talk was going to be waiting at your house when she receives a letter from the teacher. Though, as you were thinking about it, you stopped to see your last class of the day in front of you. Art class. You weren't exactly sure as to why they put you in this class. You didn't have any talent in drawing at all, but maybe learning a new hobby wouldn't hurt either. You take a deep breath and get into the class, and as you entered, you could sense the smell of paint in the classroom right away. The walls were filled with drawings of portraits or landscapes, and just showing the classroom a really colorful place. Not only that, as you scan the room, you see the class wasn't that full of students, and by counting them in your mind, there were maybe 15 students in total. You slowly look around to take a seat since the teacher didn't seem to be present today, and to your surprise, you see the same boy from your first class. The one who was drawing, and yet he looked a bit intimidating to you. But he was the only boy you recognized in here, and maybe you could get closer to him if you could. You made up your mind to sit in front of him. It wouldn't hurt to make another friend yourself. You take a seat in front of him and put your backpack on the floor beside you. It seemed to grab the boy's attention as his blue eyes moved to you. He looked surprised to see you as his head lifted up more, losing his focus on his drawing. You also looked at him, and now that you were close to him, you could look in detail on how he actually looked. Pale skin, black hair, blue eyes, and faint dark circles under his eyes. He looked tired, and maybe that's why he looked scary. You smile at him a bit to make this little awkward moment ease a bit, but it didn't seem to work since he quickly looked down at his paper, making the situation more awkward. Maybe you should have looked down too. You tapped on the table, getting a bit embarrassed for not saying anything, but you shake your head and decide to talk to him, and you tap on the table in front of him to gain his attention. And luckily he looked back. Hey, I saw you in first period before. I'm YN. He didn't say anything and just kept looking at you, but then he sat straight to look at you completely. Are you new here? He asks. His voice is soft and a bit deep, surprising you a bit. Yeah, I'm new, you respond. It's my first day and I actually never expected to be in this class. I don't know how to draw, so this was a surprise, you laugh. You only earned a small smile from the boy. What's your name, by the way? The boy's smile fades away quickly and looks down at his paper, as if something changed in him, but he replied anyway with a short answer. Helen. And with that, the conversation ended, leaving it in silence. He didn't seem to be the outgoing type. He looked more reserved. You looked down at your desk. Maybe he didn't want to talk at all, and you were just forcing him. That wasn't good. Maybe it was best to leave him alone. School finally ended, and as you stepped out the door, you bumped into Maggie and her friends. Maggie smiled, looking surprised to see you there. Ryan, what happened? You didn't come back to us. Her two friends were just looking at you with a surprise, too, as if they forgot you were gone in the first place. Sorry, I got lost. You nervously laugh. As that was the only excuse you had, but it wasn't a complete lie. After all, you didn't know how to get back, and you needed to go back to class anyway. Though as you were talking to Maggie, you noticed two boys behind them, and they also noticed you, but they didn't wave at you and quickly turned around. Now their backs facing you, you were confused. Why did they act like they never met you? Maggie seemed to notice your confused expression and frowns a bit. What's wrong, Ryan? that is the end of that chapter. The chapter after that one is chapter 6. Let me know how you guys feel about that series or those 2 chapters, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.